Welcome to the Safely Controlled Podcast, the show where we think we know what we're talking about, but we're still deeply confused.
That's right, those mysterious, spooky, and sometimes downright ridiculous anomalies that the SCP Foundation works so hard to keep under control.
How do they control them? Why do they control them? Honestly, we're still figuring that out. But hey, we got dice, and that's all we need to choose which SCP we're probably going to mispronounce today.
From homicidal rubber ducks to existentially horrifying vending machines, we're here to explain them to you. Mostly.
So buckle up and suspend your disbelief, and prepare to be entertained by two people pretending they know what's going on. It just sits that way. I think you have to adjust that if you want it to not do that.
This is fun.
Mine stays where it's at. Anyway, you're not Rob.
No.
It's another special episode. Anna's here, and Anna hasn't... we haven't done one since the Rubber Ducks, right? That's the only one that we've done solo before.
Yeah, because I helped with a couple different things, but not like actually participated.
You were a part of one of my favorite reads, actually, because we read The Flesh That Hates was one of the last ones that we read, and that kind of took the cake of all the other ones that we have read before. But the Orbital Period one,
yeah,
that one was honestly, it was one of my favorite ones to edit and read, and I thought it was just a fantastic story. That one was high up there for the longest time, but for whatever reason, Flesh That Hates was just so good. Coke. Normally it's coffee talk, but it's Coke talk, because there's no time for coffee at 6 p.m.
No, God no.
Unless you want coffee. You want coffee?
I don't want coffee. I don't even drink coffee in the morning.
We'll be up for a while. Let's talk about our D&D one-shot that we've created. Because normally I would love to discuss this with somebody else, like
Thank
Rob,
you.
But I can't talk about it with Rob. Huh?
You're like, normally I would talk about this with somebody else, not you. No, I'm just giving you a hard time. I know.
So Nick backed out the other day.
Oh, did he?
I
didn't
saw
know
Nick
that.
yesterday. Yeah, Nick's not playing.
Okay.
Yeah, his job also sucks.
Yeah, he has a schedule.
Me and Anna have created in the past month or so, trying to do a one-shot D&D campaign. A one-shot being it only takes one session, so a couple hours of a game that we're trying to put on here tomorrow, actually. And then, after we play the game, the next episode would be me and Rob, and then we'll probably do the continuation, the summary of how that actually went.
Yeah, then you can actually talk to Rob about that and see.
Mm-hmm. He'll definitely have something to say. I'm pretty sure of it. But the whole concept of it, the one shot is that we are making them escape prison, and that the prison is on an island. The prison has a couple exits off the island, one being a heliport or a helipad, the other one being a dock. So it's either through air or sea is the way that you're going to be able to get off of the island. And we've been setting it up with different locations, different items and stuff like that. But it's also not very it's not D&D. I don't know what you would call it other than maybe just another random dice rolling RPG game. I'm actually really excited to see how they handle it, because there's just certain aspects of it. I have the warden is moving from room to room at random, and he's one of the fastest people there, and he's almost an instantaneous being. He just comes up out of nowhere. He's going to start in the office, and then 10 minutes later I'm going to roll a dice, and then he's going to be in another room completely. And he's just going to show up, and he's kind of what did I call him? Mr. X?
Yeah.
From Resident Evil?
Yeah, he's just big, intrusive, and you do not want to get caught by him.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that I am kind of worried about, but it's the shit that you would worry about while running a D&D campaign, is the stuff that you don't know the answer to because the questions haven't been asked yet.
Yeah, a lot of stuff needs to be dealt with on the fly. When
people play the game, that's obviously how it all starts unfolding a lot better. So I'm waiting for people to, ask a question, because especially if it has anything to do with I'm going to leave this certain cell block to go to this certain room, and if they're not close enough, then you have to step in and tell them no.
I'm the map keeper.
Mm-hmm. If anything, I'll be the warden, you'll be the guards.
I could do that.
But I'll roll for everything.
Should I bring my own dice?
No, I was planning on using my computer anyway.
Oh, okay.
I'm too lazy for all that. Speaking of rolling dice on my computer, I have D&D Beyond open. Time to go ahead and roll some dice for us.
7-Eleven?
Nope, that's 171.
Oh, you go off. I see.
Collective Brain Foam.
It has a good rating.
Yeah, well, 287. I feel like the average rating that me and him like usually find, it's definitely a triple digit number.
Yeah.
Every now and again we'll come across something like 1,000 or whatever. Like the Flesh That Hates was like a 19 rating or something,
that
like 1900 or whatever. But yeah, we normally don't find them like high. We also don't understand the rating system on the website either. We always rate them ourselves as well, because sometimes we'll find something that's like not even at a 100 rating that we love.
Oh, that's totally fair. I literally think that rating right there is for people who clicked on this, read it, and went, yep, I like it, or nope, I don't. And that's if everybody who came to this actually did that. I don't know. I feel like I haven't looked too much into it because I like to suspend my disbelief.
You would think that the two people that like basically host a podcast that are about SCPs, we would continue to look into them a little bit more. I mean, we have, but the things that we looked into were the type of like canon that we find within the different readings, like the different organizations that are a part of this universe. One of my favorite things, and like not to spoil what's coming up here, but I also love when one SCP connects to another one or multiple ones. That's how me and him read the book manual that you wrote and what you wanted, what type of gun you wanted, and then it supplied you with the schematics and the material to make said gun. And then a part of that read, we found the book to the set of 9 is what they were called. And the other book was like basically when you touched or read from it, almost instantly everybody died. And they were doing tests with pigs. Like the pig would look at the book and then have a heart attack and die.
Oh.
And then they would give the pig like shit to make it not have a heart attack. And then the doctor that administered the medicine would then kill the pig. So the book would kill whoever. As much as it would. But we wouldn't have never found that book if we wouldn't have read the first book, and then it all came down to a dice roll.
Yeah.
So some of the, like, we read The Flesh That Hates. I picked that one on purpose because I wanted to read it.
Fair, yeah.
And it was like, it's a very popular one, I feel like.
It definitely is, because I knew, I've heard about that one. So when you said about it, I was like, oh yeah, that, I dig it.
Object Class Euclid, Special Containment Procedures. A 4,500 liter pool of seawater located at a Bioresearch Area 12 is the current research location of SCP-171. Though not immediately dangerous, minimal physical contact between secretions of 171 and its hosts are to be observed. All communications between host and researchers are to be recorded and transcribed. Human hosts are to be fed a vegan diet of their choosing. Other animal hosts are to be fed appropriately. Fresh seawater is to be cycled into its tank regularly.
Description. Originally, SCP-171 was thought to be a colony of microscopic organisms similar to SCP-968 or SCP-165, but further investigations revealed 171 to be a single entity spanning 300 square meters when first encountered. 171 is a web-like matrix of small, fine tendrils of neurons, mucus glands, and muscle fibers suspended in a frothy foam of its own creation. It is not capable of self-locomotion and does not actively attack or feed on other living organisms. Rather, it attempts to form a symbiotic relationship with all organisms it comes into contact with.
So, like a very, very tiny little microscopic organism.
But it does, I will point out though, off the get-go, it does say symbiotic relationship. So hopefully it is an object class Euclid, and what Euclid is the one that there's Safe, Euclid, Keter, and then Thalum or whatever the world ended. Is there 4 or 5? I cannot remember off the top of my head. 4. Okay, so it's not Safe, but it's not.
I mean, there's actually probably more than 4 now that I think about it.
I think there is.
There's a really big super chart that is out there that have different clarifications for each class, but
Euclid is dangerous but containable.
with extra steps. It's containable with extra steps,
Thank
basically what Euclid means. The mentions of SCP-968 description, commonly known as the tar baby. 968 appears as a black, adhesive, high viscosity oil. Current research explains 968 as a colony of fibrous protozoa working together without any true structure, central nervous system, or endocrine system, despite observations of cellular coordination. Similar to flexing properties of animal muscles, these fibrous protozoa are capable of pulling on one another with combined strength. Specialized flagella along their surfaces allow for the gripping of prey and surfaces, but without tendons, ligaments, or skeletal material to support it. 968 is incapable of any significant locomotion. The colony hunts by mimicking the appearance of prey or a wounded animal to lure the other predators to attack it. Oh, cool. In the presence of humans, it has learned that mimicking the shape of an incapacitated infant or small child is the optimal lure of human beings. That's so fucked. Ugh.
Wait, what class is this one?
I think it was also Euclid. Or no, it's Keter.
Okay, that's
That
why I
makes
was
sense.
asking, because that one's a little bit too smart.
Yeah, because I just imagine the fact, like, oh, look at this poor baby that's just lying in the middle of this field crying, and then it just gets you. This kind of just gives me Venom vibes a little bit.
Definitely, because even the next paragraph for 968, once ensnared, prey often exacerbate the situation by struggling against 968, which serves only to compound the adhesion. The effect is much like quicksand. Yeah, exhausted prey is pulled either to a den or underwater to be drowned, so it's like a freaking kelpie. Yeah, it pulls its prey in the opposite direction on both macroscopic and microscopic levels. This one's actually very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the other one that 171 was compared to?
165 description, also a Keter class. The organic component of 165 resembles that of a typical parasitic mite. 750 micrometers in length with 8 legs and genetic structure similar to the house dust mite.
No, thank you.
The main difference is the hermit crab-like behavior of attaching grains to a sand to its back. It is unknown what purpose the sand serves, but massive colonies of 165 numbers in the hundreds of billions to possibly trillions, creating a rather large dune.
For a second, I thought you had said meters, and I'm like, how can there be so many? I'm like, are these in space?
Oh wait, here we go. The similarities between Data Expunge and 165 are only superficial. Data Expunge's colony is protozoan, and the natures apparently show a collective intelligence and awareness that is not understood. I wonder if the Data Expunge is what is being connected.
171.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. Protozoan was what was described for like how 171 was described.
Yeah. Like mosquitoes, they rely on chemical detection of carbon dioxide and sugars to the air to detect prey. The mites roll and bound over one another toward prey, only using their legs to climb over one another. When in contact with the flesh of animals, they release a numbing chemical toxin in their bite, similar to makeup to that of a mosquito and flea bite toxins. Subjects are typically unaware that millions of mites are taking turns grabbing mouthfuls of its flesh as they swarm around their victims.
Flagella of the muscles surrounding the neurofibers work mucus, sea salt, water, and other secretions into bubbles, forming a large foam support. Any creature that spends a significant amount of time in contact with the matrix of 171 risks becoming integrated into a collective consciousness sustained by it. People who become covered in 171 foam describe a tingly or tickly sensation experienced, which researchers have observed as threads of 171 tunneling through the skin to directly integrate into the subject's nervous system. In time, the simple motor neurons of subjects are expanded into an elaborate two-way positive communication nexus, allowing the brains of hosts to communicate with each other and the entity of 171. Over time, the individuality of subjects are incorporated into and shared with others of the 171 matrix, resulting in a collective consciousness in which individual personalities are non-existent. That sounds like hell. I got the heebie-jeebs.
Is there another thing happening here where it's kind of like a fucking host situation where all the different hosts are also going to be connected to one mothership or whatever the fuck?
I'm wondering because yeah.
I can just imagine everybody being connected all at once and then the collective consciousness is my understanding that once everybody is taken over by this, whatever, if that's what's going to happen, integrating into the nervous system, I feel like they would have complete control over your shit and making not just you, but everybody else doing it at the exact same time type shit. There are currently 19 human subject hosts to 171, 11 civilians, 8 D-class personnel. Subjects are capable of traversing the foam without losing conscious contact with the collective as neuroreceptors on the subject's skin form to allow chemical communication between the subjects and 171, much in the same way terminal exons communicate with dendrites in the brain. These receptors on the skin look like small white clear moles, slightly raised and very sensitive to touch. Some subjects disappear into the foam of 171 and are not seen again for several months. It is unknown how they survive without fresh water or sustenance. So it's like...
It hasn't completely absorbed them yet? Is that what we're getting at?
Is it like Homer fading into the bushes gif that everybody sees?
Maybe, because...
He's perfectly fine. What is the see, this is one of those ones where I'm a little lost. I understand that it is a foam, 300 square meter, web-like matrix, small fine tendrils, neurons, most events. Okay, I'm trying to picture what it actually might look like in my head, but it's microscopic.
The flagella of the muscles surrounding the neurofibers work mucus, sea salt, and water, and other secretions into bubbles. So I'm picturing like just a big stack of small bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
So it does say over time the individuality of subjects are incorporated into and shared with the others of the SCP-171 matrix. So it's not absorbing them wholly, it's taking their individuality and incorporating it into the shared matrix, resulting in a collective consciousness in which individual personalities are non-existent. So it's not eating people, it's taking their collective brain capacity and incorporating it into what is 171. Because it does say there are currently 17 human subject hosts. They are connected to 171, but they're still able to freely come and go.
Mm-hmm.
Other hosts include 2 Australian porpoises, originally 4 beach gulls, 3 have been euthanized, 41 fish of various species, euthanized for study, 27 beach crabs, euthanized for study, and 1 canine. Within 2 hours, most subjects begin forming neuroreceptors on the skin and receiving neural contact with 171. After 3 hours, a psychological bond has been established between subjects and the collective. After 6 hours, a complete integration and dependency on the collective has evolved. At this point, removing the subject from contact with 171 results in manic and violent behavior along with eventual complete psychological breakdown of the individual, leading to a vegetative state of mind. 4 individuals have been lost in this manner. I forgot what I just said about them being able to freely come and go.
I mean, one of the timestamps there, they said 3 hours, and then after 6 hours is when the complete interrogation goes on. But it seems as soon as it happens, it's one of those things. I don't know when you can actually tell when when it would actually get inside of you. When it does come in contact with you, I feel like that 3 hours is just being nice.
Yeah.
When interviewed, all subjects' hosts speak with the same core collective consciousness as they were part of a single entity. Boom, I was right.
Yep.
The collective is aware of itself and is composure of diverse individuals and even laments the loss of each individual persona. 171 tells researchers that it understands what it is, but not where it came from, explaining that its own intelligence and the intelligence of the host is incorporated where too simple to understand or remember its origin. Researchers noted that change in SCP-171's personality after integrating Class D personnel and chose not to allow inclusion of violent, ill-willed, or malevolent personnel from that point on. 171 has expressed that through meditation and understanding, it chooses to avoid the consumption of other animals when possible. So it is smart. So it's pointing at the fact that it is picking and choosing who it's going after.
Yeah, it definitely. But I wonder if that came at obviously it had to consume to learn, because like it said, after integrating Class D personnel, obviously Class D we know are disposable. They're not always the best people. It had to absorb that negativity to understand it did not want that negativity anymore. It's compassionate now, but what if it does absorb or integrate the wrong person? You know what I mean? Like, this seems rather small at the moment. One bad enough person integrated into that, what could that do?
Mm-hmm. But then again, I think it's the SCP that's avoiding it in particular. Like, they don't want anything to do with the bad D-class people. I mean, there's some people that are in D-class that we try to figure this out. The one thing, though, that it seems as if, like, D-class almost means detained, or what did you just say?
Disposable.
They're prisoners.
Yes.
They're basically people that are volunteering to work instead of going to prison.
Yes, and I do believe the lore behind that, too, is that if you're a D-class personnel, you do understand the risks that you take, but if you survive it, you actually get time off of your sentence.
Mm-hmm.
That is you serving your sentence by offering yourself up as D-class personnel. And from my understanding, which I could be completely wrong, who's going to offer up their service and a chance of getting out unless you're in there for a really, 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 really long time?
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, trying to even think back to the last time a D-class member like that participated in any sort of form of research that actually, like, didn't die immediately.
Mm-hmm. Addendum 171-1. 171 was first encountered by beachgoers and surfers on August 12, 2007, along the Australian coastline near Yamba, New South Wales. When civilians playing in the film began to experience abnormal skin conditions, CDC officials contacted SCP personnel when they were unable to explain the anomaly. So I wonder though, since I wonder if they were long-term affected, because it did seem like
they had to be. They happily were playing in it. That's the other thing. If it just like randomly shows up, that's the type of shit where it's like, what is it? What is this actually looking like to these people? Because in my head now, when I think of this, it's like almost like a fog machine or something, a smoke machine.
Yeah.
That is producing something so thick, but like you can touch it and it's like sticks to your fingers and shit like that. It's just like this rolling mist, but it's foam. It's rolling foam. And they see it, and they're just so interested in it, and then they just want to go flop around in it.
Well, that just
I understand it's like by a bunch of beachgoers and shit, so that's the other thing. It's not just, I'm thinking of men and women and children playing in this, just getting this all over their skin on the beach. That's fucking disgusting.
Well, I mean, if you scroll back up, it did say there were 19 people associated with it, and I think 8 of them were civilians.
Yeah, so some of the other ones were D-class. The second addendum, personnel who wish to be voluntarily integrated with 171, voluntarily, must first be subjected to a complete psychological evaluation to ensure sound mental health, with special emphasis on possible disconnection from humanity and potential suicidal tendencies. Okay. Yeah, because why would you want this? I didn't continue reading. There are to be repeatedly warned that such integration is permanent and that no evidence exists to show 171 in any way exhibits a state of higher consciousness or indeed a consciousness significantly different from our own. If the subject persists on wishing to be integrated, it has been shown to be making the decision in a state of sound mind. They are to be permitted to do so.
So yeah, if people wish to be integrated with it, maybe they are looking for, like they said, that higher consciousness, even though it's not proven that it's there.
But going back to the whole thing, is 171 going to want to be integrated with these people? I feel like that's the thing. It's like, I think it has its choice on what it wants to do with whom.
Yeah.
And if it finds this person, maybe there's that timestamp of like 3 hours or so
where you can get away from it,
where
or
like
decides
and it's
not
171 says, you know what, never mind about this person. Person's an asshole.
Yeah.
And that's the end of this.
Because it seems like if this were to go on, it would be an evolvement. We would see the evolution of 171, because maybe, like it said, it doesn't know where it came from. It doesn't know what it is. or like it understands, but it doesn't know where it came from. So maybe it had that consciousness, but by absorbing more and more people, its consciousness is evolving, and there may be that way for, like how you said, for it to pick and choose, because obviously, like the other hosts include animals.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably what it first picked up, and we only know animal intelligence of how we compare it to human intelligence. So who knows what it picked up from that? But then with him picking up the civilians and then having the D-class personnel, like, I'm sure the more collective consciousness it gains, you have everything goes into one consciousness, but even a one diverse thought from all of those will alter the complete consciousness, because it's just another point of view you're adding to that.
I was also thinking here too, 171 can integrate into pretty much anybody. And if that's the case, if it, like, let's say it was on both of us, the phone was on this table and we both touch it, and then like 6 hours from now, it's just we're fully dependent on 171. Now, it's saying that it runs you while it runs itself. Like, you are one with it. Like, I feel like you are also a part of your own consciousness, but also being neurally tied into 171. Does that mean that we're both neurally tied together?
Yes, because you were tied to the one collective consciousness. Because it's like it said, it even mourns the loss of the individual identities. Essentially, you are it, I am it, it is us. Like,
we are Beeb.
We are they are we.
Yeah.
We are us.
Yes.
So yeah, but that's like, I feel like that's also something, like, that's a wild concept to even try to wrap our own heads around, because like, you can't. There's like no physical way, or no way for us to actually understand how it's individual people, but they all become one collective consciousness. So there might be 19 people, different people walking around, but it's the same consciousness inside their mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's the collective. You are no longer you. You are more than what you were.
You're you, but there's more to you now.
Yes. What did I say?
Well, it made sense. I will say, I mean, this did come to an end. We're actually done with this file now.
Abruptly.
It's a rather small one, but it made a conversation out of it. You know what I'm saying there?
We should go back to Tar Baby.
The one thing though, I've loved if this would have like expounded a little bit more on like the A Class D personnel that were subject to the host or subjected hosts. And like, I would love to see like some of these like studies, like 40 different variation species of fish that were euthanized for study. I would love to see what would happen during those studies. Or any of the just, if any of these people were actually studied and researched like what's going on with their bodies and stuff like that. Like, if it was broken down a little bit more, I would have appreciated it a little bit more. I'm not saying it's terrible, but this is probably about average or below average for our rating. So this is like a 2.5, a 3 for me. But like,
I'm
that's
probably
like
at like I'm probably at like a 3 or 4 personally, because now that I'm thinking about it too, like scroll back down a little bit, because it did say, after the 6 hours, the complete integration and dependency on the collective has evolved. At this point, removing the subject from contact with 171 results in manic and violent behavior, along with eventual complete psychological breakdown of the individual, leading to a vegetative state of mind.
4 people died.
So I'm wondering if, because like if you become so integrated into the collective, that obviously being separated from it, like you're being separated from yourself at that point. It's very base and simple, and I can appreciate that, but there's a lot here that could absolutely like branch out and be expanded on, because like, again, if you could study horrifically, but if you could study getting someone so integrated and pulling them away, like how long could you pull them away for and then send them back and them still be okay? Like, is it because that they're so integrated that they physically cannot stand to be away? Would it be like ripping your mind in half because you're away from the collective? Like, when you are it and it is you, and you're in 2 separate places.
If it wants you to be somewhere, my strong belief, if something like that has that type of control over you and your mental state, I think it would have control over you completely and say, like, if I want you where I want you, you're going to be here.
But it does say remove the subject from contact. So you break that contact. I don't know, but I wish it expanded a little bit more. But it's unsettling. But
breaking the contact, that probably sucks. And you might as well just die at that point.
Yeah.
But all right. It was a decent read for a nice roll. It did branch off into a couple of other files there. We should do it again sometime. And then even Rob said something about that the three of us should do another one together.
I would be down for that.
Well, thank you for recording with me. Normally, I would thank Rob for stopping by, but you don't stop by.
I'll be in the other room.
You live here. And I will thank everybody for stopping by the Going With Rogue channel and listening to the Safely Controlled podcast. Please subscribe to the channel so you do not miss any future content, such as this podcast, another podcast called The Rogue Report, and all the gameplay videos that I do post here and there. But thank you once again to my beautiful wife, Anna, for joining me today.
You're welcome, honey.
And thank you guys for listening to this episode. Keep your ear to the ground for the next one. And until then, we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.